Oh, it just happened just a short time ago. The House took the final vote overriding President Obama's veto of a bipartisan bill allowing families of the victims of September 11th terror attacks to sue Saudi Arabia and other state sponsors of terror. And within the past hour, President Obama weighed in.
And the concern that I've had has nothing to do with Saudi Arabia per se or my sympathy for 9/11 families. It has to do with me not wanting a situation in which we're suddenly exposed to liabilities for all the work that we're doing all around the world.
Joining me now is Steve Rogers, Captain Chuck Nash, and former federal prosecutor Doug Burns. Captain Nash, let me start with you. Is there a legitimate concern on behalf of President Obama with respect to our troops being deployed around the world and now themselves perhaps being targeted for lawsuits and things like that?
I don't think so, Charles. Two thoughts come to mind immediately. One, it's interesting to hear the president say that after we just got done paying several $100 billion in ransom payments to get Americans back from Iran. And secondly, we operate in countries and we stay in countries where we have status of forces agreement, which gives our troops and our people legal status negotiated with the host governments.
Doug, you're a prosecutor. Listen. It's ironic that Captain Nash brought up the Iranian payment because over the last 30 years, a lot of people said we should have put that money aside to help pay for this kind of thing. Yeah. What's your thinking on this now? President Obama, a lot of egg on his face, even saying that he was embarrassed. But I think it's pretty clear that this is what the American public wanted.
Yeah, it's a tricky issue, though, honestly, because on the one hand, of course, you want to make the point that the victims of this horrific tragedy should be able to vindicate their rights in court, obviously. But at the same time, I actually understand the president's point. It's a little bit sophisticated legally. We have this foreign sovereign immunity. I was just going to explain.
Okay, I want you to explain it, but why didn't 97 members of the Senate not get this? Over 70 members of the House not, why, if this is so sophisticated but a valid situation, that hardly anyone even in his own party understand it?
Well, I think the cynical response, honestly, is the politics of it. As the president himself said, who wants to stand up and vote, quote unquote, against the families of 9/11, right before an election? I understand that. I'm not defending anybody, per se. I'm just telling you that it's a complicated legal issue.
Okay.
And there's what we call foreign sovereign immunity, real quick. And the president is saying that these other countries might turn around and try to damage us by passing similar laws enabling the United States to be sued in foreign jurisdictions.
In the meantime,
and he has a valid point.
He may have a valid point, but you know what? Saudi Arabia is nervous as hell that ISIS may come. They're building a wall that would make Donald Trump dream. He would go, if Donald Trump could see the wall that Saudi Arabia is building, we just sold them $100 billion worth of weapons. They need us a lot more than we need them. So when President Obama at the very end of that clip says it's not about Saudi Arabia per se, I mean, why does he seem to care so much about their interests?
Charles, it's mind-boggling. It's been mind-boggling since he took office, and you're absolutely right. There's going to be no retaliation. They need our military. They need our hardware. But I have a question for you, though, probably for the lawyers to answer. As a police officer, we issue subpoenas, and those individuals have to appear before a court. So let's say we issue the subpoenas to the Saudi Arabian royalty there. Who's going to go get them and bring them here? Who's going to enforce that?
Well, I think the most important thing, as long as their cash is here, Doug.
I wanted to say one thing. In this law, and this is important, there's a provision that says that if there's a lawsuit brought, the executive branch can ask that the suit be stayed if they can certify that they're negotiating, and that really undermines the thing in the first place.
Captain Nash, let me come back to you real quick and just ask, will this alter our relationship? I know there's been some saber rattling from Saudi Arabia, but really, I mean, they do nothing. They don't take in refugees from the Middle East. They're questionable, and we do have legitimate concerns about them playing both sides of the field here.
Yeah, we do, Charles. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think it's going to change our relationship with the Saudis because, as was pointed out, they need us more than we need them. And pretty soon you're going to see that the Russians are going to need us more than we need them because terrorism has reared its ugly head. It struck us here. Those chickens are coming home to roost in Saudi Arabia. The royalty knows it. They're not going to do anything that jeopardizes this relationship.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. And again, God bless those families.